tirelessly, the Emir of Chefchaouen managed to rebuild Targha and construct a strong naval fleet consisting of 50 ships, through which he controlled navigation in the western Mediterranean and the Strait of Gibraltar in an unprecedented manner. After that, the attacks by the Portuguese and the Spanish on this village continued, but they all ended in failure. Thus Targa remained free and strong until the era of the Protectorate, when it was occupied by the Spanish on the 18th of April in the year 1900. The fort is a mixture of clay, sand and lime, with a large proportion of gypsum added to provide strength and durability. Fortifying it in this way and containing storage pits for provisions and ammunition, as well as having water tanks and firing ports directed towards the invading sea. On the shore, facing the Sultan's residence, stands another historical landmark no less important than the fortress. It is a strong tower on a large black rock rising about 15 meters above sea level. The scarcity of historical sources has led to differing and multiple opinions regarding the determination of the date of construction of this fortress. However, based on its characteristics and features, it can be traced back to between the 15th and 16th centuries AD, in the direction towards both the sea and the land. This tips the balance in favor of the Saadians building this tower, or to repel the Iberian advance from the sea and to counter the Wattasid attacks from the interior. From the 14th century AD until the 19th century AD, the village of Targa was renowned as a base for maritime jihad, as confirmed by many foreign sources and old maps. However, what made it a base for organized maritime jihad and established a shipbuilding and repair arsenal? There was the Emir of Chefchaouen, Ali bin Rashid, who decided to have a naval base with a strong fleet to control trade and navigation across the Mediterranean Sea and to attack the Spanish and Portuguese coasts instead of limiting his efforts to confronting the lost cities like Ceuta, Tangier and Alcácer Sheguer. The presence of a large number of shrines attributed to the heads of religious zawiyas in Targha dates back to the period of the decline of the Marinid state and the advance of Christians towards Moroccan ports, which led the zawiyas to declare jihad to combat the Christian advance on one hand and to prevent the entry of the Ottoman Turks on the other.
Targha is known for knowledge in the Targha Zawiya and the founder of the Targha Zawiya, who was a judge from Andalusia in the 14th or 15th century AD during the periods of expulsion. Then there is Abd al-Rahman al-Maghribi, whose tomb is beside it, and according to some sources he was also Andalusian. Then there is Abdul Rahman al-Madini, belonging to the family of Hassan, daughter of Fatima, daughter of Ali, and he is a descendant of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and he is Sheikh Mulay Abdul Salam ibn Mashish of the Bani Arus lineage.
The religious domain was not limited to zawiyas that were dedicated to soil. It still retains a religious landmark that continues to play its role today with the ancient cemetery north of the current village. The area of the Grand Mosque is 500 square meters and it is a modest structure made of stone and clay topped with a short minaret. The courtyard includes a residence for the imam, a facility for ablution, a large prayer hall, and rooms designated for accommodating students. The exact period of the establishment of the mosque remains undetermined due to the lack of historical information.
From what we heard from our parents and grandparents about this mosque and the coming of its function was that the village was not very large. People lived there. And the mosque is ancient and functional.
The importance of this mosque is evident in its status as a historical, religious, and scientific landmark that has witnessed several dynasties ruling Morocco, and it still serves a function to this day. This religious school, with its high level of education, was contemporary with distinguished scholars, perhaps the most famous being the master of reciters of his time, Muhammad bin Yusuf al-Targhi, who passed away in the year 1009 Hijri.
It is one of the oldest mosques in Morocco from the time of the Islamic conquests.
There is no sewage system or hot valley, nor are there rainwater drainage channels, leaving waste and dirty water stagnant, affecting the environment and beauty of the village. Agriculture is the main source of livelihood for the residents, primarily subsistence farming, as 90% of the agricultural lands rely mainly on rain for cultivating some agricultural products like barley, corn, and beans. They also depend on raising livestock such as cows, sheep, and goats. However, relying on old traditional methods prevents good and diverse agricultural production, leaving traditional fishing as the solution to improve the standard of living. For centuries, the sea has been a primary source of livelihood for most of the inhabitants of Targha. In his talk about Targha in the 14th century, Hassan al-Wazan says, the people of this city were accustomed to fishing, salting fish, and exporting it to neighboring cities. Even to this day, fishing remains a primary source of livelihood for the population after agriculture, with 70% of the population working in this sector.
Leo Africanus and Marmol also say it has many fish.
Sufficient.
The difficulty
The woman plays an important role in the region's economy. In addition to assisting the men in agricultural activities, she also contributes with a traditional product that is still popular today. Starting from this simple craft, a weaving cooperative was formed in the area, comprising 138 artisans who primarily produce scarves, which are red cloth with white striped fabric, considered part of the northern woman's attire.